Hello, everybody, and welcome back to a brand new episode of MES podcast. Hello, boys. Good to see you again. How are you doing? All things Barça, of course. I think we came in. It was after Real Sociedad, wasn't it? And I think we all said we played like crap. We got Shakhtar. We got Alaves. It's statement time.
Yep.
I don't think I saw any statements.
Google, what were you gonna say?
I was gonna say it's been pretty much that. It's been Barcelona has been crap ever since, and they still are. And now there seems to be more problems brewing in the dressing room. Like I said, remember?
There's something going on for sure. I think João Felix stood out to me as somebody who was not in the right headspace. Definitely making some selfish decisions on the ball, not really looking to connect with other players and build up. He was really, credit to him for taking, responsibility, but just a little too much in terms of trying to dribble past 2-3 players instead of making a simple pass and including his teammates. There was something going on there.
Yeah. We were warned about João Felix and João Cancelo making toxic signs in the dressing room, and here they are ruining it. I'm joking. Yeah, but was it you, Bulga, who said you think something's up here?
Have you seen the video of Lewandowski and Jamal? I think
have.
that is like, I don't know what
I missed this. What happened?
I nearly missed it, and then I've just seen it, and I thought that I know these two must have seen it. So yeah, it wasn't horrific. Go on, Bulga.
No, it's just a video that someone like zoomed in of Lamine Jamal like going to give like after Lamine Jamal didn't like pass to Lewandowski and he shot instead. He goes to Lewandowski and goes like, "Hey, high five. Okay, no worries, let's go." And Lewandowski just doesn't reach for it,
He just culture that like, does he see that he reaches out, or did he like turn away? So it's blatantly he ignores him.
He just
walks past, and it's like I would expect that the other way around, from the 16-year-old kid, not the 35-year-old. But
yeah, I do wonder though. So I haven't seen it yet. Okay, I'll say this: I haven't seen it yet. But face value, it's hard for me to actually judge Lewandowski for that. He's a 36-year-old world champion. This kid is 16 years old. Like, no, don't come over here and high five me after that dog shit. Get back over there and do better. You know what I mean? Like, I could see that. I could see someone reacting that way. Like, no, I'm not going to reward that. Get back over there and do better.
Yeah. I know. That's what it was. Yeah, I think Lewandowski is feeling a bit fuming at the moment, actually, full stop. I think you can see that his reaction after the equaliser and probably after the winner as well. Because I think he's getting a lot of stick from the fan base, potentially right though in the way he plays. But again, today he's dug us out of what would have been big trouble for us, and I can't sugarcoat that. And I think he's playing angrily. I think he probably feels that why am I the one being blamed here when I'm not getting any service?
Exactly.
If I get service, I'll score goals. And to be fair, he barely got any today. The cross on Koundé, that's a half chance. It's not even really a chance. The header he scored was up.
No, that Lewandowski made the most out of that. Absolutely.
It's a world-class header. I think he's feeling like that at the moment. And I think the Yamal thing links into that a lot. I would have high-fived the poor kid, but I think it's a...
Booger, are you giving him the high five if you're Lewandowski?
No.
You clown.
I'm kind of terrible in those situations. To be honest,
what it is, it's because Bulgar's been like this, watching at too many of those like you're like Ferran Torres era, like you're like the macho man, the top G.
What?
Yep, keeping people in line. That's
But you're like, don't even like touch me. I'm focused on my game. Like, just leave me.
Yeah.
I'm like that. I'm like, I wouldn't have noticed. Like, if I'm honest, I wouldn't have noticed.
I hear you.
Yeah.
I hear you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think you're dead on about Lewandowski feeling frustrated. I think he came over thinking, hey, if I get to Barcelona and I keep doing what I've been doing, Ballon d'Or? Who knows? And I think he knows in the back of his mind. He had 2-3 years at the most. We got Vitor Roque nipped at the heels from Brazil already. I think that's fanning some of the criticism, Barcelona fans knowing, or at least I'll say thinking, that they've got this gem coming in, waiting to just kick Lewandowski out of that number 9 position. And I think Barcelona fans need to calm down.
I think this game should be sort of the reminder that I know it was very easy when Lewandowski doesn't score a goal or whatnot, and it was just so easy to say, oh, 35-year-old. And anyone who's like 33 or 32 in football, they're automatically old. You know, you get to 30 and
you watch.
But you know what? In football, I said in football, in the context. As in the context of football, you reach like 30 and they go like, we should just retire this kid, you know? But then when you're like 23, they go, oh, you're still too young. And that's the reality. Like between 23 and 30, there's only 7 years of your prime. But whatever. I think that people say about Lewandowski, like, oh, it's very easy. He can be the scapegoat, or it's really easy to turn on. Like, we paid 50 million for a 34-year-old. So I think that people, once again, like you were saying, they're very confident of just like, oh, Victor Roque is going to come in, he's going to replace this player. But they forget that Lewandowski is actually like a very good striker, one of the best strikers of this generation, like by a landslide. And maybe even it's the fact that Kane is doing so good in Bayern Munich or whatnot that they go, oh, they're going to break Lewandowski's record. But even to break that record to begin with, it's still a big deal. So I feel that also with Lewandowski, a part of the game that I've seen when he reached Barcelona, I don't know if you remember, but Lewandowski actually connected quite a lot. He kind of drops a little bit deeper, and he's not just like target man what I thought he was when he was at Bayern. So I think there's more of a footballer there, because I also see kind of I think he's the best definition to describe him is an athlete, and I think people should respect him a little bit more, and Barcelona should look for him a little bit more. It's not like we have players like that. We don't have any other attacker near him.
Well, you saw what he did with that half chance from Koundé.
Yeah.
I made note during the match, the service in, particularly today, was atrocious, absolutely atrocious. And that's just that end pass, right? On top of lack of creativity, lack of, I'll say, pace in what we're doing. It reminds me of, I don't quite remember if it was 2012 or 2013, probably 2013. It was at the end of Barcelona and Spain's heyday, right? We still have Xavi, Iniesta, Busquets, Messi, the lot, but it's slow.
Yeah, it's Fabregas, Sanchez,
it's overthought. That's what it is. We are overthinking the football right now. There's so much talent. Unleash it, Xavi. Let the boys play. Let them have some creativity. It seems like he's trying to micromanage this to a point where it's doing damage now. We got to cool it.
I think also there's one thing first to make my point actually stick and land. What is the preferred foot of Lamine Yamal? Is he like left-footed or right-footed? He's left-footed, right? Yeah. So it's like, when I look at the team in wingers, there's one big problem that I saw with Barcelona in this game, and it's that why are we playing constantly with two inverted wingers, like Joao Felix on the left to cut in the right, Rafinha to cut from the right to the left? I think that we are missing, and that's one of the things that kind of bother me much about Dembele leaving, is that we're missing the actual natural winger who's gonna really stick to the byline and is gonna just stretch it out. Like, remember how I beat you on FIFA, John? Like that.
Don't talk about that. How dare you talk like that?
You remember just the byline?
I do. I want a rematch coming up. Okay, I've changed some things since I've rethought my tactics. Okay, a different lineup. We're gonna get a rematch.
But the byline, that's what I mean. Like Barcelona, we need to go that way as well. And I feel that we have players like that. We have a Ferran Torres on the right, who is natural right-footed. He can do that. He's done that in Valencia. It's not like he's somewhat forgot that. And I think he actually, the best game of Ferran Torres ever in a Barcelona shirt, can you recall which game it was? Because I know it by like a fact. Maybe it's just because I'm like a fan of Ferran Torres or whatnot. But
was it at home to Cadiz last season?
Yes, sir.
Look at this. You guys are...
or was it away? I'm not sure.
I don't know.
It was at home. At home, I think Lewandowski and Roberto scored on the stroke of half time, didn't they? 2-0.
That was the first time in a while that we played Ferran Torres on the natural right side. And also Ferran Torres, I remember when he came in, he started scoring a lot of goals in that season in 2000. Not the last season, the one before. Also kind of play on the right winger position. So it's kind of like, let that guy cook in the right winger position, and Lamine Yamal on the left, he can be the one to like stretch it on that side. So I think that's a sort of we're missing that possibility. It's like Xavi doesn't even see that, and I feel that in a game like this we needed a little more dynamism, because right now it's like it was for the first 50 minutes. Every chance Barcelona got was just a cross or a dink of Gundogan over kind of free players in the defense. Like there's no chance creation. There's no natural chance creation in the team right now.
No, and here's what I'm seeing, and I want to get your guys' perspective on it. It seems fairly obvious that Xavi has a preferred way of playing, of getting it to the wing, but then having that winger cut inside, drawing the defenders in so that the wing back can get that space. So if I'm Lamal, I cut inside, I do a little pass inside to Gundogan. Gundogan then does the pass over the top to Cancelo, right? And then cross in. But if Lamine Yamal, if whoever's on that wing can't cut inside, none of that action happens. Everybody just stands still and watches. And that's a huge problem. You have to have more options that stem from that. It can't just be, well, if I can't cut inside, then the dominoes don't fall. So it's really frustrating to watch.
It's also a problem when, at the end of the day, that's how the first goal came. But for a long, long while, before Samu, the striker from Alaves, who I got a shout out. He looks like
talk about that.
He had 4 chances to finish the game. He could have had walk around with a poker by the end of the first half. Good player, 19 years kid. He looks like a toro. He looks like a bull. He looks incredible. He's gonna be a world beater, hopefully. Let's see. But
somebody on the broadcast was calling him young Lukaku.
I heard that. I thought that's a slightly interesting comment, but
why? Because he's very similar looking, and he misses and fumbles all his chances.
Well, hang on, guys. We got to remember this is coming from a Chelsea supporter. Okay, so Pablo, I think, has some certain feels about Lukaku. I think it depends on your perspective. I think is maybe what Pablo's saying. I would say he has a mixed reputation in the world of football. Maybe is that what you were saying?
Well, I was more just saying that he's just. I can't even go into this. I get in trouble, but the commentator has seen someone who's. I can't even say. Sorry.
Say it, Pablo. Say it. Do it.
The commentator literally has seen that Samuel was big and black and physical and pacey and Lukaku.
Yep.
I heard it.
Must be.
I remember. Yeah, he thought that they let them say they must be. I heard it and I thought, oh my god. I thought to myself, I wouldn't have said that live on television, honestly, if I was in that role. But you know what? You said it now. To be fair. Honestly, footballing wise, it actually isn't the worst comparison because I think Samuel's already with the under 21s with Spain actually, and I remember I watched a few highlights and I thought, that's an interesting player to have at the top of a Spanish diamond if you like. In fact, obviously Spain were 5'8", 5'10", and then to have Samuel up front, but he bullied Koundé, by the way. Oh my god, and Koundé doesn't get bullied often. To be fair though, Brian Zaragoza gave Koundé a horrible time, didn't he? I know that too, but then he got bullied by Samuel. And then Araujo, centre-back, dealt with him. But credit to Samuel because he was superb, but he also could have killed the game.
Yeah.
Simple chances. I think the one-on-one where he just got in through past Cancelo and stuff on his right foot, what a chance that was. And even the one he bullied Koundé with.
Going back to what I was saying before we went into this almighty Samu conversation and Lukaku conversation. I was gonna say before that change between Koundé and Araujo, where Xavi was like, okay, Koundé, get out of the center, change it with Araujo. Yep. Until then, there was, like you were saying, John, there was no overlap for the right hand side, and that's a problem because when Araujo plays there, it's like we tuck inside for that side, and we start playing sort of isometrically. Koundé, I don't understand why Koundé hates the right back position so much, but it makes sense to me if we're gonna play that system. To Koundé be there because he's way better with the ball than Araujo. And he can't do those crosses. It's not the first time we've seen this connection before. I remember Koundé to Lewandowski in Sevilla, and a long time ago. Remember?
Yeah.
And that goal came up from a very similar situation, right? So it's like John was saying. I really like your words, John. There. I agree. You bought me.
Did that come from pre-season? Remember, we've seen the hundreds of reports that Koundé was adamant in telling Xavi, "I'm playing centre back this season," and he sort of has earned his stripes here, I think, with how well he's played there. But like for the good of the team, I think he works better at right back. I think
He does.
Right than Araujo, definitely. I think another issue is I think we should have done this sort of 3 centre backs, 1 fullback at left back thing for a while now, because we've been saying that we've been unbalanced and whatnot. I think if there was one game not to do it, it was Alaves at home, when we probably didn't need the 3 centre backs. When anyone wanted to pin Alaves in, and then it was like we went 1-0 down, and then it was like we didn't have 2 fullbacks on either side. We had a centre back at right back, and it was like, well, we can't overlap now, can we? When we're 1-0 down at Montjuic, and it was like, if there wasn't a game to do that, I think it was this one. What about Gundogan, by the way? Because I think you're right in saying that we're almost looking to him on the pitch always to do those little balls over the top, right? He's sort of the guy for that. But again, in possession today, where does the first goal come from? Getting hit and caught on the ball, so sloppy. I think he did it about 4 times against La Real as well. That could have been goals, and I'm like, I think we've spoken about the pivot issue, which is an issue, full stop, I think. And I think Romeo, by the way, would have given away a penalty in the 94th minute with that handball. If that
happened, I was like, okay, everyone's gonna be ready to get this guy out the door. Like, poor guy. Like, honestly.
In his defense, his arm was coming back inside. Like it was full on natural position the whole way. It would have, you know what it would have been? It would have been a Langley type handball. Yeah. Just wrong place, wrong time. I know you weren't trying, but come on. Yeah. It would have been one of those. You know what I mean? He's got Langley vibes, unfortunately. Yeah. That's a bummer. But I do think that the role that he played today, 10 minutes off the bench to shut things down defensively, that's where Romeo can shine. You know, not so much today, but that's where he can shine.
Yeah.
Or when you have Frankie next to him, and anybody.
Any of us 3
next to Frankie.
Put us next to Frankie, and all of a sudden we're lifting trophies. Yeah. Look at
that. I was gonna.
So go ahead, Buga, and then I got a hot take.
I got also here a list of 3 things that I want to comment and get your guys' opinion. First of all, I'm gonna keep the
Buga made a list, you guys. Hang on, look out.
So first thing, why do you think Balde did not play in this game? I don't think it was to rest, because normally you would have rested more João Cancelo. He's played way more minutes. I think.
Yeah, João Cancelo hasn't rested ever at all. I think since joining the club.
I think Balde is. What 2 things? First of all, he either needs to have like a knock or something, because remember he had an injury like a while back, and he's coming back from it. Or I think that. If we are being honest, Balde's form hasn't been the best these few games. I can say so myself. That's what I see. That's my opinion. I think that maybe this could be like an indication. I don't want to know, because, like you were saying, why would you try the 3 center backs against Alaves? Why would you? It makes no sense. So I think that Xavi maybe is thinking something around there. What's your take on that?
I had the exact same thoughts, because I was questioning. I was like, that doesn't, rotation-wise, it doesn't make sense looking at the lineup to have Cancelo on the left. So what's going on? And I was like, he hasn't really been very impactful. I'm looking at stats right now. 1 assist so far, 903 minutes played, plus another 230 in Champions League. And that's 1 assist total.
Yeah.
Got to do better.
Yeah. He's just... I don't know if maybe the change of formation. Obviously, João Felix has been out on that left wing a lot, and obviously he overlapped with like sort of Gavi in the false left winger role. But I also think an issue is the lack of competition. I think when he had Jordi Alba behind him, I think he was better. I'm not going to lie. I just think he looks at Marcos Alonso, and I think he knows that Xavi would rather play me than Alonso, like any day of.
Yeah.
But there's no. He knows that if, like Xavi has done, start Alonso and see what happens, is what Balde I think is thinking. And that's a really bad position to be in as a footballer, and unfortunately it happens more often than not, But I'm not saying Balde's just gone off the boil, but maybe it is one of those where he burst so impressively last season, and then it's just, taking a bit of time to get up to speed this time around. But I still back him to be like one of the best left backs in the world. But you're definitely right that I don't think he's been up to. I think he's been left out of the Spain squad as well. Like the way I read him being left out of the Spain squad was a few ways. I think one, Luis de la Fuente is just picking a load of new players anyway because Spain are through, and he wants chances and to test people out before the Euros. Also, I think it's like if the Euros was tomorrow, he would have picked Balde. But then I think the third thing is like he probably thought, right, I'm going to use this break as a chance to like see people who I don't think are doing as well as they could be for club, take them out. And I think that probably symbolises where Balde is right now, and it probably was the same reason he didn't play today, to be honest. It's like, right, let's test this. Now that we've got Cancelo who can play as a left-back, let's also test the 3 centre-backs. Not that it was the best game to do it in, but that's the way I read it. It's like telling Balde, like, you haven't been good enough.
Talking about the, like... who goes?
Go ahead,
okay,
Boga.
I was going to say, like, talking about...
You go, Boga.
I was going to say, like, there's a certain Spanish left-back who was free in the summer that's just scored a golazo this weekend.
Yeah.
Was it Grimaldo?
I was like, there has to be something as to why he wasn't ever like touted for a move here, because there was no links in the summer about that. For me it made total sense. And it's...
Did you see he commented on that recently? A reporter asked him, and he was like, "No, they never even came knocking." It felt pretty passive aggressive, I'd say.
So I was like, that makes total sense. I think if you had Grimaldo and Balde, for instance, in the left side position, you're set for like competition, and that's exactly like fixing the sort of problems that we're discussing right now. And I'm just baffled at the idea that we didn't even contact the guy. Like he's playing really good football for a while now,
and he's back in the Spain squad over Balde.
Yeah, well, just to play devil's advocate, is there a tipping point? Or, is there a situation to consider where there's a certain level of competition that if you bring it in with a young player, it actually, again, does a bit more damage, right? If you go for someone like a Grimaldo, who could be, right? If Balde didn't exist and we grab Grimaldo, we'd be like, cool, left back of the future, right?
I agree.
But if you bring in a second left back of the future, what does that do for Balde's confidence in terms of how he feels about the club support? Right, not that he shouldn't be challenged. Or like, who's a player in between Alonso and Grimaldo?
Yes.
That's what we need. That's what we need.
Yeah, well, that was sort of like not in levels. I think Jordi Alba was still probably a higher level, maybe than even both of them. Like on an individual game, but because of his age, that was sort of like his role, and that worked well. Like Alba still definitely in attack was a higher level.
Yeah,
Balde even last season. Like if with a goal, I'd much rather Jordi Alba at left back than Balde.
Well, his decision making is class.
The best.
It's far above
the best left back I've ever seen going forward. Absolute joke in picking people out in the final third. It's just ridiculous. And the timing. Oh my god, what a joy to watch his runs. But you're right. I think you're right, John. I think to me, signing Grimaldo on top of Balde, it's like a dream. It feels very FIFA career mode like to me. Unfortunately.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. And if I'm either of those players, I don't know if I got to compete against you in the national team and now at my club. Nah, dude, I'm sick of looking at you. I'm out.
You know what it would have reminded me of? Do you remember when we had Jordi Alba, obviously, when he was at a high level 30, 31, and we all wanted to sign Gaia from Valencia, and they were both competing for each other for the national team. And I think Gaia probably thought, well, why on earth would I do that? And for Barca fans, it was like, why on earth wouldn't we do that? We just have the two best Spanish left backs, but it's like it doesn't actually make any sense logistically.
We tried that actually with a player that now is at Aston Villa. Can you guess?
Digne,
yeah. Because when he came to Barcelona, he was actually like a good left back. Like he was touted like oh, let's play this guy. He's good attacking. He was class at the Roma. He was really good at PSG. He didn't get the game time at PSG, but at Roma he was incredible. And it's like, we tried that, but he was around. Jordi was around like 29, 28, I think 27, maybe less. And Digne was like 22, I think less, 22, 23. So it was like there were two players that one kind of prime and the other one entering the prime. So I get it's hard to make it sort of everything balanced. And with that, I wanted to ask the next question.
I was gonna say get to number two.
Because when I was looking at this squad and looking at this game, I think Barcelona's squad and Barcelona overall are weaker than last season.
I think we are experiencing a pretty strong growing pain trying to go from good to great. If we want to stay good, right, at that level of domestic champions, we go to our consistent either Balde or Cancelo, and then 3 center backs and 4 in the midfield with 2 up top, right? And there's a million ways that you can mix and match that with the squad that we have right now. That's good. That's solid. But we're not going to be great playing that way. For us to be great, you waving that finger at me like you're my high school principal or something. For us to go to great, it's going to take some growing pains. And I think right now we're doing a 2-step forward, 1-step back kind of flow.
But that's
I agree.
I this is where let's open the debate.
Okay.
Not only for me, the squad is weaker. I think that not only we don't have a Jordi Alba, we don't have a Busquets. I think the fact that I honestly right now Gundogan is not looking like an upgrade on Kessie, because at least for me, the one thing I wanted to bring here is profiles. We have different profiles of footballers. Like Kessie is like, or Kessie. It's like that goal against Real Madrid. I don't think Gundogan is gonna make that run from the back of the midfield to act like as a center forward. Like that is a thing that Kessie brought to the table. When we look at the wingers, like I was mentioning, just simple fact that we had like someone like Dembele and someone like Ansu Fati, they are different. They're stretched out the play a little bit more than what we have right now. We have a center forward, a false 9, playing as a left winger in João Felix. Then we have Rafinha, who's an inverted winger. Ferran Torres that also plays in the same position. And the best position of the other winger that we have is Lamine Yamal. So it's like all of our 3 players are in the same position. The same when you mentioned the 3 center backs. Koundé, his best position is actually still the right back position. But now with the excuse of bringing Cancelo, it's like Xavi has to wash his hands and say like, okay, Cancelo's got to play and probably play every game because we run out Roberto's injured. We don't have another right back. So you're making more problems to the squad by the way that we've built it. And I think that's a very big problem that I just I don't like it. I think that last season we had a good squad because it was built correctly. And when we lost Jordi Alba, we lost Busquets. I think that the players that we brought in sort of were brought in more of course, the market sort of aspect rather than if they actually going to replace or fit into the roadmap that I think we have. And I think that's why we look weaker. Right now, it's not orchestrated to the best of its abilities.
Yeah, it's a very good analysis. I actually do agree. I actually agree with both of you. I think you're right, John, that we've gone from that sort of like the 4-4-2 in a way where we know we can do well and dig in games and probably get a lot of results. But also we probably know if we go into a game in Europe, that's probably not going to work. We're probably going to have to show a lot more than just trying to like contain results, right? And we're probably trying to show like that we can step up and play with a 4-3-3 and have players like João Felix on the wing and play with 2 natural fullbacks and maybe don't play with a Busquets, Romeo sort of player. And it's actually sort of like backfiring in a way where we look a lot weaker than last season. And that was always a potential to happen, I felt, because you're probably right, Bulgar. Maybe the squad has got weaker. We've lost a profile like Jordi Alba, who we don't have a left back anymore, who could have been crucial, would have been crucial in, I think, so many of the games I'm thinking about this season, even Shakhtar midweek, bringing Jordi Alba at left back, unreal, ideal. You look into midfield, of course, Busquets, I think, is the big one that we're all talking about, right? Because we have not replaced that. We tried it with Romeo with the right profile, but it's a level it's not working. That also comes back to how many resources we actually have. What can we do about that in a way? And having to play Gundogan then, I think, is not ideal. I probably saw Gundogan, like probably you guys did when you watched Man City last season, as like a late arriver into the box, someone who grabs you 10 goals a season. He was like the big guy for City in big moments. Maybe like the sort of positions like he got into in the Clasico goal, right? Now he's sort of like the deep man who's dinking balls over the top, sort of like a Jorginho position he's playing, which isn't Gundogan actually, which is what's weird. He's a goal scorer midfielder, really. You're right about the loss of Kessie. Is Gundogan even an improvement on that? On the right wing, no Dembele, who of course was massive. He stayed so wide on the right. Now we've got Rafinha and Lamine who just go like that, inside. And then on the left wing, we're a bit unbalanced as well. So I actually get the point. Certain players are older. Lewandowski isn't as efficient, as effective. So I think we are struggling from trying to like go to good to great, but then also like we haven't exactly got the signings or the squad improvement to do that, and then we're trying to change too much too fast in a way. And then also, I think you could also be right about the fact that the profiles maybe haven't been replaced adequately either. But the football we're playing at the moment is completely subpar. And you mentioned, John, about maybe us only having one way of breaking teams down or stuff. It's just, it's not looking great. It's not looking sustainable. It's just looking like, okay, we can win 1-0 or 2-1, but nothing more than that.
Yeah. All right, Buga, hit us with number 3, and then we'll quickly touch on where is this going to turn around for Barcelona, because I'm looking ahead at the next couple matches, and I'm nervous. Buga, hit us with
what? Number 3 has been sort of already answered, by the way, when we've been talking.
Well, what was it? Just so we can have the listeners rest easy. They can't be sitting there going, whoa, what was number 3, Buga?
Was the Gundogan one, the one that we are kind of playing him so deep, and it's very different to the sort of player he was. I mean, he played like that at Dortmund, but Guardiola took him to City because of other reasons, and that's where he bolstered that as a player. I just wanted to say, like, I think that you made also a perfect analysis when you said, like, we are having problems from going to good to great. And I feel that when you sign a player, like, for instance, for me, the one player that I would have signed 100% regardless was João Cancelo. I think that he's a player that when I look at him and he passes not only the eye test, does it very well. But I mean, when he plays, you see, okay, technically gifted, check. He's world-class player, check. Mentality, check. He has the flair, check. He's a player like, okay, yeah, he's the real deal. And he's a player I would have signed completely, because Barcelona, to be great, they need the right back. And Koundé is not going to give you that. Roberto is not going to give you that. Even Roberto gave you that at some stage throughout the season. Maybe the first season he replaced Dani Alves. But João Cancelo, okay, you needed that in the squad. Check. But then when I look at the midfield, Frankie is, for me, the only like complete midfielder we have. Pedri, Gavi, they're amazing, but it's like the injury is not helping. Sometimes it's difficult to slot them into the positions. I think that we're missing another attacker. Like when we were talking about Lewandowski earlier in the pod, I was saying like Lewandowski is, world class. I think we have players who are like want to break into the world class status. Lewandowski is like elite, We don't have any players who's world class status. Like
we have world class potential.
Exactly.
And I think this is where Barcelona get a little bit tricky with their marketing, with their branding of the club, because we're a young team. Yes, we have Lewandowski, we got Gundogan. Outside of that, a lot of players under 25.
No, and a lot of players, not only the age, the players that haven't won. And it's not. I'm not slandering the team, because I am in love with this team. Yeah. I mean, like,
they're young.
They're young. You look at De Jong. De Jong hasn't won that much in his career. Like, you take a look at, for me, the players who are like in the how do you call it in English? The cusp of greatness.
Oh, on the cusp
of greatness are like De Jong. I would say he's entering 26, I think. Rafinha is 26 or 25. Araujo, which is 24, 25. And then I would have Koundé, and I will put also in there Christensen, who's already a little bit older, like in 27. I think those three players.
League winner.
Huh? Champions League winner. Exactly. But he has never been like the out and out starter in a team. And I feel that like I look at those players and I'm like, okay, these are the players that I feel that can enter that world class status. Even like someone like a Pedri, I think, like a world class player because of his ability. But when you take a look at the problem is in games like this, in a game like Alaves, in a game of the Champions League. In the Champions League, no matter, like we were saying in another episode, no matter what team we face, I think still we're like, even though we have the quality, I think we may be less favorites than like an Inter Milan, or I would be more favorites of.
Oh yeah.
Because you just look at these players and it's like we still need to become that team, that can beat the Real Madrid consistently, the team that can feel the greatness and even the disputes in the dressing room. Like this is something where it's experience. Like if something is wrong, let's say with Lewandowski, let's say they're forming the Club de Amigos, imagine. It's going to be experience for a Pedri, for a Gavi, for a Valde, for even Araujo, for them to see, okay, how do I deal in this situation? Like as a person, as a footballer, as a professional.
Yeah. All right, so I want to wrap up on this. I want to share the next 4 matches for Barcelona and get your reaction. So number 1, we have international break. Okay, so we don't have a match for 2 weeks. In Barcelona, for as long as I've been watching them, which is a while, don't respond well. Don't you laugh at that?
No, it's a fact.
Don't
it's
respond well.
We never do. We never do well.
They don't respond well after international break, right? Do you know who our first match is coming back?
Atleti. Is it?
No, it's Rayo away.
Well, a Madrid club. I was close.
Yeah.
I was close.
So you were close. Then we do have Porto at home in Champions League, which now that we've dropped points, Porto have everything to play for in terms of trying to get that number 1 seed in the group.
Massive.
But that scares me. Then we have Atletico Madrid. Then we have Girona. That's our next 4 matches. So if this could be, oh man, I don't want to say by Christmas, but I don't want to say it. But by Christmas, there may be shouts for Xavi out, like legitimate ones, if he does not figure out a way to get through that. Because then after that, we got Antwerp, throw that away. But then we got Valencia on December 17th. Mid-December, early to mid-December. This is maybe a breaking point for Xavi.
This is huge. And you're right, I think there are already question marks on Xavi just over 2 years in now, wasn't it? A few days ago, the anniversary of him signing.
Yeah.
Team looks like it should be in a good spot. Certainly the individuals, like you look at our lineup of some of the quality we've got, shouldn't be playing that poorly. Needs to make it click. Rayo away. I mean, goodness me, I'm actually dreading it, thinking about it. I think because all of us know how difficult that is going to be, and you wouldn't even expect us to play well if we win. You'd expect it to be similar to today or against Real Sociedad.
Yep.
That's not good news, but if we can play well, make a statement there, that'd be great. That Porto game as well becomes so important due to our own stupidity away to Shakhtar from just not even turning up. So that is a massive game, and they are going to be well up for it. They mauled us actually in Portugal, so they'll be well up for it. They'll feel they can hurt us big time, and that'll be a proper test for us in Europe, which we don't like. The Atletico game, of course, is massive, absolutely massive. And then Girona as well. And you're right. I mean, I'm actually unfortunately looking at those games, and in that sort of run, you're sort of maybe thinking 3 wins, 1 draw. Can we actually afford to drop any points in those 4 games, guys?
We've got a 3, maybe 4 team race for the title this year. Girona, Real Madrid, Atletico Madrid, Barcelona. It's a tight top 4.
I don't know if we can afford to draw even any of those games. So
I was listening to the commentary and they were saying like, okay, Barcelona drawing, they're 28 points. And that would mean they're saying with this current result, Barcelona will be at 28 points and Girona has but 34, 33.
Yeah.
So it's like, I was already saying like, what? I was like honestly surprised that it was that big of a gap. And it makes you realize what Paul is saying. Like, I think that I am starting to hear stronger words of the hashtag Xavi out thing and whatever is going to happen.
Yeah.
I don't want to, kind of bring bad luck or whatnot. But also this is a turning point. Like we were saying, is this the same time where sort of we shifted to the 4 midfielders last season? I think it's around the same time. And because it was before,
potentially, because he would have been realizing, okay, Ansu Fati is not really the answer.
Yeah.
We got to look at something else. Yeah, you might be right.
It's a weird one because it was different. Obviously, I think I got on thing like 1 year ago today, and it was our 2-1 win away to Osasuna. Do you remember when Lewandowski got sent off and Rafinha scored in the last minute?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Maybe it was sort of changing then, but obviously it was different because we just split up for the World Cup now.
Yep.
So it was sort of now and then when we came back in January.
Yeah, we came with a 4 midfielder. So I think it's also sort of similar in that sense, because one thing that is certain is that Xavi's, like we're saying, young. I think Xavi and his squad is also very young in the term of like managing situations and things like that. So I feel that last season he got it right. He had more time because of the World Cup. I think he got it right. He turned it around, and I think it's time for him to turn it around as well, because it's bad enough. I'm not saying I'm close to being Xavi out, because I'm not, but I'm like, but I can still be sort of okay, manager, like get your shit together, like
I was, when I hear Xavi out now, I don't have the immediate reaction that I did before of like, you're being silly. calm down.
Paul is like,
now,
what? This is what this guy's
when I hear it now, I'm like, relax. We're not there yet, but you don't sound absurd saying Xavi out right now.
It's absurd because people are way too fast to come to these conclusions. But
yes.
But it's like for instance, I think if I was like, let's take United for example, Ten Hag, I still wouldn't sack him. That I still wouldn't sack him. No. With Xavi, I still honestly wouldn't have sacked him because every season for him is like a new season. Like this season looks completely different from the project that we had last year. So I feel that it's we gotta give time. In Spanish, there's a saying: "Hay que darle tiempo al tiempo." You gotta give time to time. You know, sometimes time fixes everything, and I feel that this is a sort of situation like that. So hopefully he gets it right because, like Pablo was saying, we cannot afford to lose any points. And if we draw against Porto, like, fuck.
All right. So come, let's see, December 10th, 3 p.m. Eastern time is when we play Girona. So we will have Rayo, Porto in Champions League. We'll put that aside for now. Rayo, Atletico Madrid, Girona. Come 5 p.m. Eastern time on December 10th. Where are Barcelona going to be in the table?
I mean, you have to look at the other teams as well. But how many games are those? 4 games?
Rayo away, Atleti home, Girona.
Okay, 4 games.
Home.
So out of 4 games, we can get 12 points.
3 games.
I'm counting Porto as well. Rayo, Atleti.
Okay, you're counting Porto.
I'm saying of 12 points, how many do you think we get? Pablo.
I'm going to say realistically we get 8.
8.
I think we draw Rayo, and I think we draw Girona.
Well,
I think we get 8 out of 12.
I'm going to go 10. And I'm hoping the draws against Porto.
Where's the?
Whoa. Really?
Whoa.
Wow.
Ultimately, if we draw against Porto, it means we're essentially through in the Champions League. We wrap it up against Antwerp, probably wrap up top spot as well. If we beat Antwerp on the final day with a good, we would have the head-to-head on Porto then as well. And if we win in La Liga against Rayo, Atleti, and Girona, what a brilliant way to go.
Is that what you want, or is that what you think? Is it your heart, or is it your brain?
It's not a bad strategy.
Of course, it was like what I said. I mean, I didn't really. It's like losing to Shakhtar isn't that big of a deal. Like, if we lost to Alaves, it would have been so much of a bigger deal than losing to Shakhtar. If we beat Porto, Shakhtar game literally doesn't matter anymore. It's like a forgot game. There's never a forgotten game in the league.
Mm-hmm. Especially in this season, it's different. I think that I think 8 points as well. I think we draw. I actually think less. I think we draw against Rayo. I think we draw against Porto. I think we beat Atleti, and I think Girona is either. I think Girona one is either a win or a loss. That game is gonna be like 4-3 or something like that. Atleti, we always beat Atleti. Like for Cholo Simeone has never been in Barcelona in the league. Like it's been a decade since he's there, and he's never been in Barcelona in the league. So it's
knock on wood.
And Rayo is always hard. Is it away or at home?
Rayo's away.
Yeah, that stadium.
That's gonna be tough.
I haven't been inside, but that stadium is like just like 1 block. It's like very tight.
Yeah.
It's one of those. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. All right. Well, I want to feel optimistic, but I will say I need something. The boys gotta give me something after this international break to get excited.
I'm gonna finish.
We need a spark.
I'm gonna finish the pod on an optimistic note. Guess who's coming back? Frankie.
Let's go. He's due back after international break.
That's a huge boost.
Yeah. Just in time. Yeah, I'm into that. Okay. Well, folks, don't forget to like, subscribe, share, 5-star rating, tell your friends, all the things. Let us know in the comments what your thoughts are. We'd love to hear from you. Keep the conversation going. Buga, Pablo, any final words, final thoughts?
Not particularly. we've stayed in the title race. I think, to be fair, over the before the international break, when it looked like we were done after the loss against Real Madrid. I think I said last season we beat Villarreal and Athletic Club after losing to Real Madrid in the Clásico. To this time, horrifically, but we did it. We beat Real Sociedad and Alaves, and now we've got the big ones coming out. So we've kept our hat in the ring, which I'm happy about. We're still fighting.
Yes, indeed. Yep. All right, we'll catch y'all next time. Visca Barça.
Bye.